Good morning, Wind Chasers. Welcome to another episode of Chasing the Wind. I'm Pastor Mark. Let's see how the wind is blowing this week. Oh, it has been one of those weeks for me. It's just like God's been like moving like crazy. It's not been the wind blowing, folks. It's been a hurricane. It's been a tornado. Been one of them naders. Got some naders going on. Anyway, hey, here's what I have a question for you. Now, I'm not wearing my normal bright clothes today, but underneath this is my Ireland polo shirt that I got in Ireland about 8-9 years ago when I went to Ireland. I can't wear it green because I got a green screen behind me, and then my producers will be like, you can't wear green. So I got this on over it so that, anyway, doesn't matter. Here's what I want to ask you today. What are you wearing? Now, for some of you, if I could see you today, I'd probably say, what are you wearing? You wore that? No, I wouldn't say that. I do want to talk to you about what you're wearing. One of the things that I pray daily, I hope you do too, is to put on the full armor of God from Ephesians chapter 5, 6. Paul's under the Ephesians. You'll find it in there. 5 or 6. Can't remember now. It doesn't matter. I guess I could look. I'm right here. Anyway, the full armor of God, chapter 5. Yeah, 5. And then it goes 5, 6, whatever. Find it. Go find it. Anyway. The belt of truth, the breastplate of righteousness, the shoes, the readiness, the gospel of peace, the helmet of salvation, the sword of the Spirit. Okay? You put that on. We put that on because we're in the Lord's army. And we are bombarding. We are coming against the gates of hell. Gates keep things out. Well, they keep things in too, but anyway, primarily they keep things out. We're on the offensive. We're not on the defensive when it comes to spiritual battles. But I'm going to ask you something else now. What do you wear? There's times you put on the battle gear, and then daily we need to also put on, sometimes, I used to like watching the show Jag years ago. I love Jag. And it was, you'd see them sometimes with their military, their battle gear on, but then other times they would have on, I guess that's what they call it, by the way. But other times they might be in their daily uniform or their dress uniform or whatever. They weren't ready for battle necessarily. They were always ready for battle, but they weren't dressed for it. But anyway, here's something that we get dressed every morning. Some people like to use their, like when they put their shoes on, the shoes are the readiness of the gospel of peace. Well, that's fine if it works for you. Visuals are not bad. But here's something I want you to think about from Colossians chapter 3. Therefore, as God's chosen people, that'd be you and me. I love what Jordan Peterson says. If you're a Jordan Peterson fan, if you're not, then bear with me and love me anyway. Because this one, he was right on. He says, you're a child of the King. Act like it. You're a child of God. Act like it. Okay? So we're God's chosen people. Act like it. We need to act like it. But we also need to dress like it. We need to dress like it. Okay? We are a God's chosen people, holy and dearly loved. Look what he says. Clothe yourselves with compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience. Those are also kind of the fruit of the Spirit. Paul's just using a different way. If fruit doesn't work for you, which, by the way, when you go to Ephesians and you read about the fruit of the Spirit, you will find that don't think of it as an apple. If you're a visual person, think of it as a cluster of grapes. It's kind of like one fruit, but it's got all these little doohickeys on it, like little grapey things on it. Anyway, here's the thing: we get dressed, and maybe I'm just talking here, so just bear with me. Maybe this thing of clothing ourselves and putting on the full armor of God are not two different things. Maybe we need both. I'm going to tell you, so I don't want to be putting on heavy, like armor and stuff, without having something underneath it. It'd be good to have probably like a t-shirt or something underneath, like that breastplate of righteousness. Otherwise, it's probably going to rub. And, anyway, I'm just having fun with you here. Clothe yourself. Get dressed with compassion. Put it on. When you get dressed, you're putting something on you. Put on compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience. Oh, here we go. Bear with each other and forgive whatever grievances you have. I'm gonna just talk about something I saw yesterday. Someone posted on Facebook on a group that I'm a part of about Andy Stanley speaking to, I believe it was whatever they call it down in Georgia, their Congress, their whatever they have, their assembly, whatever it is, and was talking to them about civility, basically, that unity, that we're not all going to see the same thing, but can we be unified behind one thing? And for him, it was that the state of Georgia, that we got to be focused on this. A lot of people, oh, you can't be for the government or for our country or whatever. Yeah, you can. Wesley was very much in favor of the crown and England, but he also was in favor of God's kingdom, which he knew was bigger than England and the crown. And so I think it's okay to be a pro-American and to be a patriot, okay? And also be a Christian. I think we need to be a Christian first and then an American, okay? Or whatever country you're watching this on. You're Christian first, okay? But I agreed what he said. And he says, you know what? We've got to find unity. We do not have civil discourse anymore. I sat with a pastor this week who I'm sure, and she told me so. She says, no, that right there is probably contention for, oh, she's a lady pastor. Okay, well, love me anyway. And most probably she and I, and she told me so. She goes, I don't agree with you on some of those things. But we agreed on this, is that holiness, Jesus, God, is the answer to all these little problems we have. Yes, so I said, well, yeah, but they did that. There was people that believed in holiness and they were still did all sorts of bad things. Yes, they did. And you know what? I sometimes probably do myself, okay? Because I get me in the way sometimes. Here's the thing. We've got to bear with one another, too. And this is going to happen, and maybe part of the problem is because we don't clothe ourselves. We don't get dressed properly in the morning. We worry more about, do these jeans make my butt look big or do they not? Maybe you need to look, but maybe it's your ego that makes you look big and is robbing you of serving the Lord. So maybe if we worry more about what we are putting on spiritually than we are putting on physically, okay, aesthetically, if that helps you any. Clothe yourselves with compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience. You do that, then the next couple are easy. Bear with each other and forgive whatever grievances you have. Here's the thing, and we do this. Look at what Paul says. He goes, we do this because, and you need to forgive because the Lord forgave you. You need to bear with other people because the Lord bears with you, and the rest of us have to bear with you too. So you can bear with me a little bit, like you do when you watch this show. You need to forgive any grievances you have against me. You may not agree with me on everything. You may not agree with other people who do shows down here. But you know what? We need to say, wait a minute, God, is there something? I don't agree with them, but I can still love them, because that's the next thing Paul says. Over all these virtues, put on love, which binds them all together in perfect unity. That unity, we don't have it today because we're too concerned about being right. We're too concerned about, you got to hear my position. I may not agree with you on everything. Philip Melanchthon, I think, said it. If he didn't, I've said it enough times that I said it. Okay? In essentials, unity. In non-essentials, liberty. But in all things, charity, or in love. So here, I'm going to leave here with you, Wind Chasers. Get dressed this morning. And you might have gotten your clothes on, but I'm going to suggest to you that if you did not do this morning, then I'm going to go back and put on these things from Ephesians 3, starting in verse 12. You are holy and dearly loved. You are chosen. You are a chosen people. We need to act like it. And we need to dress like it too. With compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience, bearing with each other and forgiving whatever grievances we have against one another. Forgive as the Lord forgave you. Over all these virtues, put on love, which binds them all together. And then he says, let the peace of Christ rule in your hearts. As members of one body, you were called to peace, and be thankful. Okay? Let the word of Christ dwell in you richly. Let people see Christ. Put on Christ. Don't put him on. Some of you are putting on Christ. You're just putting him on. You know that old phrase, I'm just putting you on. you're trying to tease them. You're faking it. Okay, don't fake your relationship with Jesus Christ into the rest of the world. If you're going to do it, just live for the Lord, okay? So, Wind Chasers, I'm going to leave it right there. That's what the Lord's been kind of talking to me about this week to share with you, and so I'll let him take it from here. Well, he's had it all along. But anyway, keep chasing the wind, Wind Chasers, because the wind is chasing you. Until next time, I'm Pastor Mark. Grace and peace.